The Newsroom.
Well, you're still watching The Newsroom, and it's now time for TNR Extra. My name is Victoria Namtebi. Tonight, it's more of substance abuse. By substance, we're talking about alcohol and other drugs, but their abuse is what we are talking about tonight. Well, a big percentage of Ugandan youths are really addicted to alcohol and other drugs, even though they know it is bad for their health. But why, and what are the impacts, most especially the negative impacts of being addicted to alcohol and other drugs? That is our discussion tonight, and I'm joined by Bill Bekunda. Bill was once addicted to alcohol and other drugs, and tonight he's going to be telling us all what it means, how he started, how you can overcome the addiction. All is going to be told to us tonight. Welcome to the show, Bill.
Thank you.
I'm very happy to have you here today.
Same. I'm happy to be here.
All right. Now, when we talk about substance abuse, what exactly do we mean? What's the difference between abuse, addiction, and just taking the drugs for fun?
Alcohol is a drug, but it's usually put aside as alcohol, and then we have other drugs. Because alcohol is special in its own way. It's very special. Number one, it is a social drink. It is something people take casually, some people take at home, some people take with lunch. But when it comes to other drugs, it's a little bit, secretive, hidden. You're taking on prescription, and that is the major reason as to why they kind of put them apart. Now, abuse of a drug is when you're using it improperly. You're not using it the right way. For instance, you're supposed to be prescribed Panadol for a headache, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, if you're to drink socially, but not to get drunk. If you want to get spiritual and go to the Bible, it's also there. Yes. Okay. So basically, alcohol abuse is when it is wrongly used. You use it, and drunk driving, that is alcohol abuse. Addiction is when it has gone beyond. Addiction is now when you're dependent. You're dependent that you really need it. You need it for so many things, like you need it to have fun, you need it to get guts, you need it to calm down, you need it to just basically to be able to operate. Some people need it even to work. Yes. The dependence on substance abuse, on substance, is also the same. It is more or less the same thing. Okay. Yes. So there is quite a distinction there, and it's not common knowledge to many.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I understand you were once addicted to alcohol and other drugs. Tell us, how did this addiction start?
It started as a young boy. Okay. In my senior 2. And of course, the reason was to just go out and see how my friends were doing it. I liked these guys because they seemed to be in line. They were the cool guys. They are the guys with the cool clothes.
Yeah, I understand. But in senior
now,
2,
yes.
In senior 2, we are not allowed to go out and party. Were you among those that used to jump over fences, or you were in this other kind of school?
Where there was no fence.
Oh.
But at the same time, even if there was a fence, by the time I started, I don't think there would have been something that would stop me. Okay. When you fall in love with a drug, you'll probably go to any length to get it. Usually with many things, but in this case we're talking about a drug. So I went entirely to see how these guys do it, because one of them enticed me and said, let's just go together. Just come and see how we do it, and then blah, blah, blah. So I go down, we're drinking kasese, the round goes one, the second. By the third time, I saw everybody excited. Everyone was out of themselves, and I'm like, let me try it myself. I can't miss this next round. So that is how I took it. But that's how I took my first sip, and then I enjoyed it. Yeah.
But they say it's sour.
The effect and the taste are two different things.
Okay.
So by the time it gets past your throat, you've already forgotten, because it has already hit the brain. Oh. You have an instant relief, as in that's what I felt. Instantly, I felt different. I felt happier, a little bit, lighter. I felt comfortable with these guys. I felt, by the time I took the third sip, I think I had even forgotten that I had escaped from school. Oh. Yes. So it progressed from there.
Okay.
Yeah. It progressed into longing for the next time we are going out, not for many other things, but for the drink. Because I'll be like, when are we going so that I can have a drink? When I get money, the first thing that would come into my mind is I have to have a budget. He's an S2 boy. So my grades were affected, of course. I started forging reports by my S3.
Oh.
You know, coming from a very good, I had performed very well for my P7 and my S1 classes. Yeah, and that is how it progressed. By the time I finished my senior 6, I knew I had a problem. The only thing I didn't know was what problem I had. But I knew that my friends didn't like drinking with me already. They were like noticing something is not right about me.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't stop. I didn't care how much I drank. I didn't care what happened afterwards. Things like that, basically, simple signs that show that that I had a problem. Yeah.
So tell us more about this particular problem. I understand it's a health problem anyway.
Yes, it is. It is World Health Organization already termed it as a disease.
Okay. It
is a disease, and that means that when it's a disease, it has a cure. I mean a treatment, not a cure. How to sustain it, and the only cure you have is to abstain.
Okay.
Yes? And the only way to prevent it actually, if you have, you know, it's hereditary. That's why you'll hear people saying, that family, they are drunkards, that family, they are, yes? But if you notice that there are many people on your parents' side or your auntie's side or your grandparents, then there is a chance that you might have that problem. So you taking it, putting it into your body, whatever substance it is going to affect you to become one easily. And if you don't put it in your body, especially below the age of 20, 23 to 25, usually it doesn't affect you in any way.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to put it in your body for it to be effective. Without, the body will have nothing to get addicted to. So by the time your senses are fully grown through adolescence, then your brain is already mature enough to handle situations such that it doesn't need any extra kick from the chemical.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's go to the health bit of it. There's something you were explaining earlier about it getting to your head and, you know, the chemicals, you're replacing the substances, something like that. Tell me more about that.
Brain science. It is pretty long explanation, but I'll try and cut it short. I gave you an example of a child. When a child is born, they can't see for the first 6 months. And I mean, they grow into, I think it takes 2-3 something months to be able to see. But if if the child is born with a cataract around the eye, and the eye doesn't receive any light rays, if it is removed after the first 6 months, the eye will never be able to see. Now that shows that a part of the brain that needs development for sight only happens within the first 6 months of a child's life. So that is just one way of showing how the brain develops. There are certain parts of the brain that develop at a certain time. Okay. Now, when a child is in adolescence, there are different parts of the brain that the brain is probably fully mature. That is why you'll see sometimes young children look like they're in control. You know, they do things that actually adults do, but their reasoning is not as mature. So they'll do something correct, but then they do it anyhow. You know what I mean? They make a decision, but they don't mind. They
don't think about what will happen after.
Exactly. Now that is because the prefrontal cortex of the brain has not yet fully developed. And it fully develops at the age of about 23 to 25. Okay. Now, when you introduce alcohol or other substances to the brain, because it goes into the bloodstream and to the brain, then it replaces the connections that are made are replaced by using the alcohol or the drug in the brain. Yes? So it forms a wiring whereby, like, it wires the eye to see, it wires you to deal with circumstances using alcohol. Yeah. Such that when you don't take alcohol, you're very quiet, you're not timid, you're not as bold, can't talk to girls or name it. But when you take it, you can. Okay. Yes. So it's a whole long thing.
Yeah, it's a long thing, but
that's a small
explanation. At least from what Bill is saying, it's just that if you're below 25 years of age, try and avoid alcohol as much as you can. They should actually not take alcohol.
The longer you delay, yes, no drop policy.
Yes.
Don't drink.
Don't drink. Now, tell us more about the recovery walk. Bill here is actually a good gentleman, I will say, because if you fight an addiction and you come out of it and you're willing to help the young people out there to also fight an addiction, now that is generosity, I believe. But tell us more about this recovery walk and what you expect from it.
Yeah, the recovery walk. You know, there is a bit of prevention going on. We have people like UIDEL, we have UIDEL, Rogers Kasiri, people in this world know it. They're doing a lot to in prevention and trying to help people, but there is nothing in recovery. There is practically nothing, and you'll find for a population of over 37 million, is that what we are? We have less than 10 rehabilitation centers. For instance.
Yeah, very true.
We have them, and they still don't get even full anyway. But it is that bad to see that we are considered to be the drunkest country. Consistently, first, second time, third.
Yes.
But still, we don't have enough facilities, and at the same time, well, they're not as affordable as they could be. And we have very many drunkards. So you do the maths. They don't get filled, there are very few, and too many drunkards. That means people don't know. People don't know. Many people call me and say, what do we do? You mean there are rehabilitation centers in Uganda? So people have to know these things. Yes. So out of this, we are hoping to be able to start recovery houses. That is a cheaper version of a rehabilitation center, but it is majorly to be sort of like a halfway house between when you get out of rehab, you pass through a recovery house. But majorly it is cheaper, it is affordable, because people paying the amount of money they pay these days is not that easy. So that is one of the reasons. Another reason is we need people to know that this is a problem. Be able to look at your friend and say, you have a problem, let me help you. If they don't listen, at least you've said it. Somebody else will tell them. You know, if you get it from different people, different angles, you get the point. But the denial remains, because when you're with your guys, they're like, man, you guy, but you drink, but you know what, you can, you calm down a little bit. And you're like, man, I just lost it. And you'll keep saying, I lost it for a month, 2 months, a year, 2 years. Yes? So that's another thing we need to achieve. Another thing we need government to do something about the policy. We are still running on the 1964 Nguli Act. I wasn't born many years after that. So this could actually help during that time. Yes, and majorly it was meant to control the local brewers around Uganda, the guys who made Uganda Waraji. Yes, so we need policy. It's not just about drunk driving. We don't want our population to get to become the 56% of children of the population who are under 18 to become drunks, and then we start importing labor from other countries. Because the problem is in Uganda, lack of regulation. This Kavera Waraji is not there. And on top of that, the unpopular things I like saying, they tax the drinks that are already on market, and some of that tax goes to rehabilitation, because people are getting messed up. I mean, the government should look into things like those.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. So we want government to pay attention, want government to give us a voice, want people in recovery to also reach out to other people and explain to them. I go out, I want other people to come out and be bold and say their stories, so that people can know that it's not happening only in my home alone. I will ask you a question. Don't you know anyone with a problem with alcohol or drugs?
I know.
I have never failed to get that response from anyone. It is almost impossible to find someone who doesn't know another with a problem. It might not be your close relative or next of kin, but they know someone.
Okay.
Then I'll ask, how many have you tried to help?
Not many.
You understand? That is the same.
You know, the challenge is that whenever you try to talk to someone about alcohol, they say, man, you're not cool, but this thing is for cool people. So there's how we need to also change it and say not drinking is cool.
Exactly, and that is why when it comes to light, you know, I want people to be, another thing, before I continue, rehabilitation is my pride, I will say that. Yes? Okay. I give rehabilitation, the rehabilitation that happened to me, more value than any degree. Because before I went to rehab, my story was nasty, it was bad. When I came out of rehab, my story was better. Instead of people congratulating me, okay, a few did whom I really disturbed, but even those who used to look at me and curse me and say all kinds of things, they are now adding and saying, can you imagine that guy was in rehab?
Oh.
You see what I mean? Now, that is stigma. That is stigma. Now, if it would change and people would be like, clap for you actually when you're going to rehab. Do you know how
Yes,
it would change
it would
dramatically?
change very many lives.
Exactly.
So tell me more about this walk. When?
This walk?
What time? Where are we meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
We are meeting at the KCCA grounds behind Java's.
Okay.
City Oil, Kamocha.
Oh.
Yes. And we shall meet there by 8 a.m.
Okay.
We are going to be registering the people who come to show support. You know, when we go to government, you know, these are the people who are supporting us. It's good to have something like that. Then it will start, the registration process will go until about 8:30.
Okay.
The Prime Minister will be arriving within that time. He will have a speech. I will speak to open up. And then the Prime Minister will speak before he flags off.
Okay.
Then we walk. Thank you. I like the way you said you'll flag us off. That means you're coming.
Yeah, I'll be there. Then,
Yes.
which day is that?
That is Saturday, 10th, the day after tomorrow.
Okay, this Saturday.
Yes.
So this Saturday, let us all go to KCCA grounds.
KCCA grounds.
Behind Cafe Java's, that is at City Oil in Kamocha.
Kamocha.
Yes, for the recovery walk. It's about creating awareness to the people out there that actually alcohol and other drug abuse or use is bad. Well, many thanks for coming, Bill, and many thanks for the great work you're doing.
Thank you.
God bless you. Well, that's all we had time for on TNR Extra this evening. Many thanks for watching, and do remember to be part of the recovery walk this Saturday at 8 a.m. My name is Victoria Namtebi. Have yourselves a blessed night.